You're watching America Trends. I'm Mary Burt-Godwin. I'm very excited to interview our next guest. She is a research psychologist and psychotherapist, an award-winning author of Life Begins at 60, A New View of Motherhood, Marriage, and Reinventing Ourselves. She is the oldest woman in America to give birth to twins. Welcome to America Trends, Dr. Frieda Birnbaum. I'm excited to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, hello. So welcome to the show. And I have so many questions, so I hope you're here to stick around for a little bit because we've got a lot to talk about today.
I'm here.
Okay, great. So talk to me first about, I wanted to talk to you about, having children at, I believe it was age 60. Is that true,
Yes.
having twins?
Believe it or not, I can't believe it, but it's true. It did happen.
Okay, great. Now, did you have children before that?
I did. I had 3 other children, and I was married to the same man. And we said we would not tell my age, and now everybody knows my age. It wasn't my plan. I was going to tell them I'm 10 years younger. Everything would have been fine. And then I was told I could make a difference to other women. And I did get a lot of positive feedback by older women saying that they can start a new lease on life in their 50s, middle 50s, even late 50s. I think I was a little bit on the edge there. And then again, it wasn't really about so much about age, but it's about what can you do with yourself? Well, you can always reinvent. You can always do other things. You can change your hair color. You can move, change relationships, careers, whatever you really want to do. Because today, age is just different. Age is not what it defines you anymore.
Right.
It's you who defines you. So it's really society has to catch up with what's really going on around the world, and
Right.
women all over are doing fabulous things at any age, actually.
I think that, what you're saying too is I love that you decided to say your age and come forward. And I do think, I remember growing up and hearing the phrase, you never ask a woman her age, or a woman never tells her age. And I think that's a bunch of malarkey now, because
Today it's different. And
that was perpetuating us living in living a certain way and not being able to reinvent ourselves. So now, by the fact that women are starting to come forward and say their age, and women like you that are speaking out about it and writing books, you're allowing now new generations of women and old generations of women to feel confident and comfortable embracing their age, because that's all we have, right? So why try to pretend something it's not, or fight the age?
Absolutely. And you know what's really important to know? That fertility no longer defines who a woman is. She can have children later through in vitro. There's all kinds of ways that you can be educated. You can go ahead and do it, travel, have a relationship, and then have children, because we're living longer, younger as well. So we're really living in a whole different society today. And we need to embrace that. As you look around, you'll see women of all ages, and we don't really care. I was on a show where no one knew whose age was what, because it was really the way they saw themselves, what they did with their life. So if we want to really define something, define somebody's productivity, define somebody who's challenged in life, who's making a difference in some way, who has positive energy. That's who the person is. And you could be that person 30, 57 and beyond. It really has to do with what you're doing and what your passion is more than anything else. And that's how we really need to look at ourselves.
Yeah. And women get to kind of take ownership of their passion and their own journeys, rather than being told what it's going to be. And it's reminding me of a few months ago, I believe Don Lemon on CNN got caught talking about women in their prime, or in their 20s and 30s. And he doubled down on it. He didn't even walk it back. He kind of stood by that ground. So we are here, you are here, and I am here to say that's malarkey is the kind word that's coming to my mind.
That's a good word to use. I have to remember that word.
I think that's from my mom.
Right.
But,
I can be more appropriate.
Yeah, I'd like to say a different word, but I will hold my tongue. So talk to me about, when you decided to have these kids and start this new journey for yourself as a parent, and then it led into this whole new journey, right, for you of getting to speak on this subject, and you kind of just opened up this whole new life for yourself. So talk to me about how that unraveled.
Well, I always wanted to do things that I was told I couldn't do. So I was always like 10 years ahead of myself, ahead of society. So when I went back to school for my PhD, everyone said, "You're crazy. Why are you bothering? You have a husband who makes a good living. You have your kids, you have everything." But I felt empty. I felt I needed to fulfill myself through me.
And what
So I went,
age, sorry to interrupt
yeah.
you, but what age did you go back for your PhD?
Well, I was 46 when I completed my PhD. It took me 5 years.
Wow.
Before that, I was accepted to Columbia University for my master's.
Wow.
And by the way, I did leave there because my children needed me. So women do need to balance back and forth. You know, I was always thinking of writing a book, how I left my husband and kept the maid, the housekeeper. Because, is that a good title?
That's a great
Because,
title.
because men have both. You know, if they want to move or, I'm venting right now, we get up and we do it. And for women, it's not the case. But we do have to have our priorities to balance both. And I think we can do it all. We're not greedy. We can be assertive. If a woman is assertive, they're considered aggressive. It's something negative. Not really. We are everything that we can be. And today's society, women shouldn't complain as much either because we are getting all our needs done with high corporate positions and status situations for ourselves. So, I went ahead and did it because there was nobody there to do it for me. So I had my kids, I had my career, I had my relationship, I had it the whole package. Even Gloria Steinem said she wished that she had children. So with that in mind, today it's like, duh, what else is new? Everybody's doing it. Most people have some kind of, they look at me, so what's so great about that? Well, at that time, I had to break through in order not to regret 10 years later and say, look, everybody's doing it. I should have, could have. I mean, that's the worst place to be. So forget about convention and listening and being good and doing the right things, because people themselves, they follow certain models that are extremely antiquated. And we need to know if we're not comfortable with something, then guess what? We better back off and do the right thing. See, I can't hear you anymore, but that's okay.
Oh,
This just broke,
take your
but
time,
I'm
put
good.
it back in.
So I can hear you. Yes.
So you went and got your PhD in your 40s, and then that decision to have children later on, and then how did you find out it was going to be twins?
Well, this is an interesting question, more than you realize. So what happened was I went to a doctor, and the doctor put this probe on my stomach, and it was very painful. And I said, it feels like a truck. And he said, oh, that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that night I was miscarrying, and I called him, and he says, oh, you're probably miscarrying. So what I did was I stayed on the first floor couch. My husband told me to. And I went back to the doctor about a month later, and he told me he sees a leg and then he sees another one. I said, another what? Another leg, another hand. He said, no, another baby.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I found out. And I was in a state of shock and elation at the same time. And so therefore, I didn't lose these twins. And the doctor, you have to be very careful. When doctors tell you to come, they want to see you, and you're having pain, the best thing you can do is not do anything to subside the pain, to subside the problem. Because getting in that cart, in that bumpy road, it's just really going to make it worse. And how much can they really do for you? So that's my message to everyone.
Okay.
If you feel there's something wrong, just stay put.
So you had the twins, and
Yeah.
How were the older kids with the twins?
Well, at first they said I was crazy, and I was out of my mind. And I remember I was on 20/20, and my son, my other son, said, "She's too old." And of course, that's what they zoned in on,
Sure.
because they love that stuff. But I was asked, by Elizabeth Farkas, why am I doing it? I said, when I'm 80, I'll retire. I don't have to, and there's longevity. Everything's fine. So I forgot your question, but that was really my orientation to go ahead and make a good life for my children. I'm a professional. I can give them a wonderful life. They're thriving. They're 6 feet tall. Now I have to look up to them. Handsome boys, and tennis and honor roll and friends, and just delightful. And I think twins are actually easier than having one child because they are able to interact with each other. They don't need me as much.
Right.
So
are they
fight.
both boys, or what's their gender?
So they're two boys.
Okay.
And they are very different. One is more responsible. One is more playful, loves to stir the pot and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they'll say, "Are you going to the gym?" You know, this is like an hour after they were fighting or something. I'm thinking, "Are you kidding me?" But yeah, they say, "You going to the gym today?" Yeah, and then they go off to the gym, and now they're starting to drive.
Oh wow!
Which is another situation.
Right.
Another,
I have teenagers starting to drive too, so I can relate. So we're going to take a break. Dr. Frieda, will you come back and speak to us again? I've got some more topics I want to talk to you about, including emotional prenup and gaslighting, which are two topics you talk about. But for now, we got to take a quick break. Dr. Frieda Birnbaum, drfrieda.com is where you can follow her. You can follow us on America Trends TV. We'll see you right back here in a minute.